So guys, I have a confession to make, and that is I have Grinch energy within me because yes, I don't really celebrate Christmas. My family never has, and so today is just another regular Friday for us folks. But of course, I'm well aware that many of you are celebrating Christmas today, and so if you are, I wish you a Merry Christmas, and I hope you guys got all the gifts and technology items you've wished for. So yes, I hope everything was pretty awesome today. But of course I did want a little Christmassy touch to this video, and so I thought of the perfect thing, and that is of course a hat. But it's not just any hat, it is this hat right here. It's the Christmassy Santa hat. There we go. How do I look in my nice hat? I shall wear this for the whole video to give us a Christmassy feel. But anyways, with that being said, let's delve into the contents of today's video because BOE, the display manufacturer who's failed Apple's tests many times, has actually passed. I can't believe it myself, it's a Christmas miracle, but BOE has passed Apple's display tests, and so now they can manufacture displays for, of course, the upcoming iPhone 13. And of course, let's delve into why this is such great news, and spoiler alert, it's because the iPhones could be cheaper next year. I know it's a hard concept to wrap around, Apple products getting cheaper, but it could happen because of this new display. So without further ado, let's just delve into this. Make sure to like and subscribe, click that notification, and with that being said, let's just tuck in. Actually, you know what? Before we delve into the story, I do want to mention the hat is very itchy, so I'm just gonna slowly take it off, put it to the side, and of course with that being done, let's now delve into this video. So this story comes from Patent Apple. I've never really covered any of their stories before, and they do mention this report from China mentions this, so of course there is an element of unreliability with the story, but I do think this is pretty legit. So of course, what is this report delving into? Well, basically, like I mentioned at the beginning, BOE has passed Apple's exams for display making, and of course because of that, they can finally make displays for some iPhone 12 models in early 2021 and possibly iPhone 13 models in late 2021. Now, in case you were out of the loop, BOE was actually supposed to make the displays of the iPhone 12 and the 12 mini. In fact, John Prosser, a very credible leaker, mentioned that the iPhone 12 mini and the iPhone 12 would be $649 and $749 respectively because of these cheaper BOE displays. And honestly, I'm not really sure why BOE is so much cheaper. Now, of course, Apple ended up going with LG and Samsung, and so I guess because they're more established, they obviously want to charge more money, but BOE being a relatively new company, they can keep their prices pretty low and charge pretty low, and of course, that is great news for Apple and the consumer. But of course, up until now, the problem was that BOE kept failing these display certifications done by Apple, and of course that was something that was quite confusing to me because BOE makes displays for pretty much every Chinese manufacturer out there like Huawei, Vivo and Oppo, but for some reason they kept failing Timothy's simple test on how to make displays. In fact, for a while I was kind of just assuming that BOE didn't know how to make displays because they just kept failing again and again. So honestly, I'm just relieved for them that they have finally passed this exam and they can finally make displays for the iPhone. But I feel like this might be too late because of course BOE was the main reason Apple could initially supposedly keep prices low with the iPhone 12 and 12 mini, but of course because those plans fell through at the beginning of production, Apple increased the prices, and of course we have the current $699 and $799 price offerings. And so while Apple might be saving money from this BOE transition, I have a feeling they're not going to pass those savings on to the consumers because clearly everybody's kind of fine with the iPhone 12 and 12 mini pricing, And of course, the iPhone 12s have been a huge hit for Apple. They're currently selling in the millions. They're currently the fastest selling 5G smartphones ever, even though that's not much of a competition. But anyways, Apple has had ridiculous success with the iPhone 12 series, and so there's not many incentives for them to decrease the price with the iPhone 13s. But I won't say it definitely won't happen, because of course with the iPhone 11, everybody was caught by surprise that Apple lowered the price by $50, and so it is very, very likely that we could see the same with the iPhone 13 models, since of course they'll be using BOE's cheaper OLED displays. Not to mention that Apple's focus as of late has been with services. They're becoming a services first company, and so possibly they might be willing to sacrifice a little bit of profits from, of course, their hardware to potentially make these iPhones more accessible and, of course, increase the amount of people subscribing to things like Apple TV Plus and iCloud. Either way, this BOE transition is a great thing for Apple because apparently, according to this report, by 2022, the proportion of iPhone OLED screens will reach 100%. So basically, that means by 2022, we should expect Apple's full lineup of iPhones to be completely OLED. And so, yes, that means they need as many suppliers as they can get to, of course, meet demand. This report mentions that Apple could be making up to 180 million iPhones with OLED, which is a lot of iPhones. And of course, if Apple can lower prices as well on top of all of this, then of course, that is very great news. I do want to mention though that because BOE has failed these tests so many times and they're only just passing, Apple's being pretty cautious with how many units they produce. So right now, for early 2021 with the iPhone 12 lineup, they're only expected to reach 10 million units, with LG supplying 40 million units and Samsung getting 110 to 130 million units. So clearly, Samsung is making them big bucks. And of course, this makes complete sense because Samsung is the most reliable and pretty much the best OLED manufacturer in the industry. And so, yes, for Apple to rely on Samsung more heavily than, of course, the new kid on the block, that is BOE, it is a very sensible decision because, of course, if there are display issues with iPhones, that's going to be a huge, huge problem, a catastrophe. And so I'm sure Apple kind of wants to avoid that. But anyways, coming back to my point, because of this, I feel like BOE has to perform well in early 2021 for Apple to give them more units to produce and possibly handle the iPhone 13 and 13 mini. But of course, because of their pretty shaky past, that seems sort of unlikely to me. So of course, we'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed, BOE pulls it off and we get cheaper iPhones, because that would of course be pretty awesome. Now, for people worried about BOE's display quality, they have actually been making displays for Apple briefly this year with, of course, the Apple Silicon MacBooks and entry-level iPads. And I'm inclined to believe they've delivered on that front, so I'm hoping for the best. With these OLED iPhones, we just have to wait and see. Anywho, that ends yet another day of iPhone 13 information. They just keep on coming, and I'm sure it's not going to end here because, of course, as we enter 2021, the leaks are going to accelerate, and so make sure to like, subscribe, click that bell notification to keep up to date with all this juicy iPhone leaks. And of course, on that note, I've just realized I've messed up my outro, but anyways, I've already told you guys to like and subscribe, so do that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See you, peeps.